Hey everybody, it's Second Chance Adventures. Today is day number 160 after having gastric bypass surgery. It is currently a little after 4 o'clock in the morning and I have my tripod light on because I think I look like a regular corpse in the regular lights. So I needed a little more light to make my face look a little more presentable at the moment. Because when you are a college student, you have to balance multiple teachers' schedules, what they want, their expectations, while dealing with your own life and trying to find a way to not look like a corpse again. And that can be kind of hard. If you're a college student, you know what I'm talking about. I can't imagine being a medical student. Oh my gosh. No way. I couldn't do it. Nope. Well, anyways, a few days ago, I had mentioned that I'm switching up the contents in my videos for this playlist because the hardest part of the surgery is behind me. You know, the recovery, the having to constantly redirect myself, fighting myself over making sure that I'm not going back to my old habits, and the fact that a lot of times I just say, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry, and I kind of thought to myself last week, nobody wants to keep watching a channel or a playlist where they just say the same thing over and over again. So a few days ago, I started to add different content. And basically, it's just things that people go through when they're overweight, have a struggling weight problem, whatever you want to call it, and things that they go through. Now, remember, I started being overweight when I was about 7 or 8 years old. And at almost 30 next month, it's still there. So it's been over 20 years. So I have over 20 years of experience of what it's like being overweight, from personal issues to people outside of the house, like at school or work or anything in between. I have so many stories to tell about what it's really like. It is not fun. It can be a little depressing, but you know what? It's the truth. It really is. And there's a lot of people that don't want to talk about things like this because they're embarrassed, because they know it's about them. But you know what? I will be the speaker of the house and I will just say what it is. Anything I ever talk about, if you agree with me or you have something similar to it, let me know in the comment. If something you don't disagree with, let me know in the comment too, but be nice about it. And that's something else I'd like to address. Just because somebody has a different opinion than you does not make them a complete monster. As long as they're not like lashing out at you and cursing at you and threatening you, then it's okay to have a different opinion. We live in a world now where things are really different than what they used to be like 50, 60 years ago. Oh my gosh, it's in a lot of ways it's not that good in my opinion, but it is what it is. And I have a lot of opinions that are very different than a lot of people's. And just because I do have them does not make me a monster. It does not make me a terrible person. It just means I have a different opinion, and that's okay. We live in a world where if you have a different opinion, you're shunned and people threaten you and say, oh, you're a terrible person. You should kill yourself. You're a bigot, whatever you want to call it. You're a hater. That's stupid. That's just idiotic. Well, anyways, anything I ever talk about in my videos when it comes to like issues with people who have a weight problem, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions. Just please be respectful because I have an opinion and I have a right to opinion just like everybody else. Okay, so today we're going to talk about name calling. And I have a story that goes along with it. Are you ready for this? Here I am, 8 years old, and this was the first time I ever figured out that I actually had a weight problem. Because when you're 8 years old, you don't really think about that kind of thing. At least I didn't. It was in second grade, and it was raining this morning. And I got dressed, and I had a jacket on because it's raining. It's a little bit chilly. Went to school, and then like maybe a little bit later in the day, like I don't know, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, I took my jacket off. So I was like, well, I'm inside. It's not raining in the classroom. I'm gonna take my jacket off. I had a spaghetti strap shirt on. It was purple. I remember it. It had like little stringies hanging off the shoulder part. My teacher says, hey, you need to put your jacket back on. And I thought, how come? I'm only 8 years old. Remember, I'm not 30. I'm 8. It was like 22 years ago. So I politely asked, I said, how come it's not raining in here? And she goes, well, if you're not going to put it on, then we need to go have a talk with the principal. And then I'm thinking to myself, what are you talking about? Because, when I was a child, all the way through, I was a kid that never got in trouble. I was the kid that teachers never had a problem with. I was always the obedient one, the good student. And I thought, why do I need to go to the principal's office? I didn't do anything. I just simply asked how come. If I had an answer, obviously I'll do it. I'm still going to do it anyways. I'll put my jacket back on, but I'm honestly just asking how come so I'll know the reason why so I don't do it next time. That's all that was. So she gets a funky attitude. I don't know what her problem was. So here we are in the principal's office. And then I'm going in the principal's office and he goes, it's a pretty shirt you're wearing, but you cannot wear it at school. At least you have to wear a jacket or a coat or a hoodie or something. So then I said, how come? He said, because your shoulders are showing too much. And I thought, at 8 years old, I thought, but it's still like kind of summer. It's not fall yet. It's hot outside. I know it's raining today, but it was like the beginning of September, like the school year just started. And I remember sitting with something like this thinking, but it's still summer. How come it's still hot out right now? I honestly don't understand. If somebody could give me a real reason, then sure, you know. Then he goes, and not only that, but girls your size and anybody your size don't wear stuff like that, at least in public, you know. And I thought, what do you mean my size? Because of how tall I am? Now remember, I'm almost 6 foot tall. Like I am very tall. I've always been taller than all the girls at school, all the way to high school. And a lot of times I was taller than the boys all the way from high school. So, you know, here I am 8 years old and I was thinking, I know I'm taller than pretty much everyone in class right now, but is it because I'm tall? And then I stood up and I'm like, look, it doesn't go and show my belly button. It doesn't. So why can't I wear this shirt? And not just that, but I have a jacket on anyways. But how come I can't take it off in class? And he goes, well, I'm not trying to be mean to you, but it's because of your other size. You know, when he said that, he said your other sides, like with his hand up, trying to be discreet. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you talking about? And he goes, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. And I'm like, finally, an answer. But of course, I didn't say it. But I was thinking, okay, finally, an answer. Let's go. He said, it's because you're overweight. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? You know, like I knew what overweight meant, but I mean, I'd never really like thought about it because you know I'm only 8 years old. I'm not thinking about that at that age. Um, he goes, "You're too fat to wear that," and like it fit though. But I figured out when I was older, he was referring to like my arms because my arms were huge. They're still huge. I'm actually gonna eventually get them surgically like removed, the skin removal after the whole surgery thing is done. And I was like, did you just say I was fat? Because at 8 years old, I didn't think I was fat. I didn't. Because I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about other stuff that 8-year-olds should be worried about. You're 8 years old. You shouldn't be worrying about your body image. You shouldn't be worrying about things like that. There's other things that 8-year-olds need to be doing and thinking about. Not that. Well, anyways, I got a little hurt, but I was trying to toughen it out because I didn't want him to think that I lost or anything because I've always been the tough one. And then, yeah, I just like I told him, "Did you just call me fat? Are you saying I'm fat?" And he said, "Yes, and you cannot wear that because it shows too much shoulder and it just doesn't look right." That really hurt. That hurt me so bad, but I didn't let him get to me. So here I am, I'm back in class. I have my jacket on the whole rest of the day, and it stopped raining and it gets really hot. And I'm burning up in this thing. And every time we went and took a restroom break, I like took it off and like try to like get in the sink, get some water, and like put it on my arms, on my face, because I'm like burning up. And I was trying so hard not to talk to anybody the rest of the day because I really wanted to cry. Like that really hurt my feelings. I'm an 8-year-old kid and I just got humiliated and a principal just told me that I was fat. It was the first time anybody ever pointed out that I had a weight problem because I didn't even know it. I didn't realize it because I'm not worried about that. Um, so I ended up going home. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was very antisocial the rest of the night. And then it didn't even take very much longer where my classmates started to make fun of me. I don't know if maybe a kid was in another room and they overheard it, or I don't know if like a kid picked it up and figured out I had to keep my jacket on because I was fat and they just started laughing about it. I don't know, but it didn't take very long. And that's when the name calling started. When you're overweight, you get called all kinds of names. And not just name calling. Sometimes people just make noises when you come around, like animal noises or just like spitting noises or any kind of like flab noises. It goes on and it's stupid. It gets to the point to where they even make noises when you sit down, you stand up, you bend over, things like that. It's embarrassing. It really is. And it makes it worse when you went to a school and you go to a school system where they do absolutely nothing about bullying. Not one time starting from second grade all the way to the end of eighth grade did any teacher, any counselor, any principal ever did a thing about it. Not one time. I know that because I was there and it never got solved. That's one thing that always makes me roll my eyes is when you start a job or you go to school and then they start the whole, we don't tolerate harassment. We don't tolerate bullying. Because not only did I have to be ignored in school, but I got ignored at work too. So every time I'll ever hear that, I just say, okay, sure. Make yourself sound better. If it helps you sleep at night, whatever. I don't care. Um, I remember in second grade, there was this little boy. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm just gonna say his first initial. His name was M, and he only lived a few blocks from where I lived because I rode the bus and I knew where he lived. And that's where it first started. There's one day he got on the bus and he dropped like a bag of pretzels. And honestly, I don't even like pretzels. Pretzels are disgusting. He dropped it like close to me, and I was trying to be nice, and I said, "Hey, you dropped your pretzels. You should pick them up so somebody doesn't step on it or take it. We're on the bus. Somebody can step on it or steal it or whatever." And he goes, "Oh, you don't want it?" And I'm like, "No, I don't even like pretzels." And he grabs me on the stomach area and says, "You don't look like you don't like pretzels." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I simply just said I don't like pretzels." It's hard being the mature one all the time because when people are around you are stupid, you're like, "What are you talking about? What are you on about?" Because you're not on their level and they're not on yours because you're up here and they're down here, and yeah. And so that's when I figured out like a minute or two later, I'm like, "Oh, now I'm gonna be made fun of now because I'm overweight." Like it all just came crashing down since then. That was really humiliating. And I ended up telling the bus driver, and he said, "Tell the principal." And I said, "Yeah, the same person that told me that I was fat and I don't look good in a spaghetti string shirt because of my arms. Yeah, I'm definitely going to tell him." Yeah. Well, I ended up telling him later because more kids in my classroom started to gang up with him and go against me. There were names called like animal names. If you've been overweight, somebody will make like pig noises and like snort around you, or they'll moo around you. One time in the same grade, one time somebody asked me, like, "Oh, do you have udders? You must have udders." And I'm thinking, what? I'm a human, not a cow. And then that's when I figured out, okay, I see what you're doing now. So goodbye to you, kind of thing. When I would be bullied, in the very beginning years when I got bullied, I did react a lot. I would get really mad because, you're only a kid. But the more it happened, the more I just found it normal and I just ignored it and just let them do it because I kept telling myself, obviously the teachers don't care. Obviously the counselors don't care and obviously the principals don't care. So why should I care? I'm not going to give into it anymore. If they want to be jackasses, let them do it, because they'll get a karma one day. I do believe in karma. What you do to somebody will come back to you. I am a firm believer in that. And actually, I have some stories about that in another video where I will tell you about that. Very interesting. And some of it has to do with weight. Karma is real. Okay. Anyways, there are names that people call you and they'll make like animal noises or they'll make like fart noises when you bend over or sit down or whatever you're doing, raising your arm or anything like that. There have been times where kids would make fun of me and say things like when I would raise my hand to answer a question or like raise my hand to do whatever I'm doing or stretching, and they would like come by me and pretend to make like a smell sound and say, "Ooh, you smell. You should wear some deodorant and lose some weight while you're at it." Things like that. Kids are dumb. It's like, why are you so young but so cruel? What is the deal? Kids are supposed to be these sweet kids. It's when you're a kid, you think that adults are the mean ones. But no, you get older and realize the kids are just jackasses too, and it's terrible. It's horrible. Um, So yeah, that started in the second grade and it carried on to third grade, to fourth grade, all the way to the end of middle school. And honestly, probably seventh, eighth grade. No, yeah, seventh and eighth grade was the worst. That was the worst. That was middle school. It was in a school, and I still to this day don't understand why I had to go to this particular school in my state. I looked it up. It is the lowest ranking school for academics. Um, I looked it up and oh my gosh. I mean, when you would go into the school, you felt like you were going into the gates of hell. All the kids there, a lot of them came from abused houses. I know that. I knew that then. I know that now. A lot of them came from houses where there were a lot of sexual abuse going on. They came from houses of drug abuse and domestic violence. And I knew that. Gang affiliations, I knew that. And here I am, just this very simple white kid, trying to just mind her own damn business, and I'm in the pits of hell. I'm like, I do not belong here, guys. I am trying to be somebody in life. I want to go somewhere in life. I do not belong in this school. I don't get in trouble. I don't lie. I just don't want to go here. I'd like to go somewhere else, but I didn't have a choice. So here I am, pretty much a fresh slab of meat going into the slaughter. That's what I felt like every day going in there. I felt like a cow going into the slaughterhouse, literally just waiting to be cut in the throat. And boy, was it a hell ride every day those 2 years. Seventh and eighth grade was the worst. There, I got bullied every single day. I can't think of one day where I did not get bullied at that school. There were times where it was because of my weight. It was times because kids would make fun of me and call me a dyke, call me a lesbian, a liquor cabinet. It was the stupidest thing ever. So irritating and just idiotic. There were times where people got physical with me, like they would push me in the bathroom and hit me and pull my hair and punch me in the face, stuff like that. I actually still have a mark from one of those. It was from someone that was wearing a ring and just hit me too hard. Um, there were times where it was even recorded. I don't know where it went, probably got deleted. If it's not, it's somewhere on the internet. Cool, go find it, show it to me, I guess. Um, I remember going back in elementary school, there were actually times where kids would make fun of me because my stepdad was Mexican. It was the stupidest thing. Like, what? You know, that's stupid. And it was actually Mexican kids that were making fun of me for it. And it's like, and what's the problem with that? It's just something I just randomly remembered. Okay, back to seventh and eighth grade. So, yeah, I got beat on in middle school. There were times where people would like take my backpack and throw it to each other, like, parts of the hallway to where I'd have to go and over there and get it. And there were times that they would do that and say, "Oh, you can exercise, you can move around, you can jog. Why don't you keep doing it? You'll lose some weight and look good. People might actually like you." Um, let's see. There was one time where I colored my hair like a purplish color because why not? Um, and I went to school and somebody was like, "Oh, you look like the purple character from McDonald's." I can't remember his name at the moment. That really hurt too, because I knew they were saying because I was really big. Well, I ended up coloring my hair back not too long after that. It's like I can't even color my hair without being messed with. Yeah, that school was a complete nightmare. And there were a lot of times where I'd tell the counselors and say, "Why aren't you guys doing anything about this? What is the deal? Why are you not taking care of this? Why?" Like, kids are literally being physical with me and recording it. Why are you guys not doing anything about it? Oh, we are. No, you're not. It's been months. Not one thing has happened. What are you guys doing? I know nothing's happened. Um, I can't remember her name and I wouldn't say her name, but I'd see this counselor and tell her everything that was going on, and she just gave me a performance show. I didn't realize it at the time, but especially in the eighth grade, she did this more than the seventh grade. But she would just put on a show, make it seem like they cared and what they're going to do, which they never did. And now at almost 30, I swear every time I go anywhere and I hear anybody, for whatever reason, say, "Oh, we don't accept bullying and this is a harassment free place," I just say, "Okay, yeah, yeah." because of my own experiences. I just don't believe it anymore. I really don't. And it's sad. Um, words do hurt, guys. It really does. It really does. Now, I will say this. I have gotten over all that stuff. Does it hurt? No, it does not. Because I've moved on. Stupid things like that shouldn't matter anymore. Um, and again, another video, a lot of them got their karma back. And it's not that I'm happy about it. It's just that's what they deserve. But like I wouldn't wish it on anybody because that's just part of being mature and growing out of it and moving on. If it's still over 20 years later and you're still mad about it, obviously you might need some counseling or something. But I did go to counseling for a long time. And eventually somebody had told me, so you're mad about it, you're upset about it, you're crying about it, yet they have no clue that you're upset about it and crying about it, and you're losing all your sleep, you're stressing out, you're losing your hair, and you're freaking out, and you're using eating as a coping mechanism because they made fun of you for being fat. And at the same time, they are living their life. They are going to sleep. They are just fine. And you're the one that's still suffering because you just won't let it go. That was a big wow. Of course, I was a lot younger then because, when you're younger versus what you are now, you think things differently, your maturity is a little different, it's part of growing and learning and figuring things out. But it was a big wow, you're right. But, it took time, but eventually I got over it. And to this day, if anybody that I went to school with ever found me on social media, which has happened, and apologize and tell me why they were doing it, I would simply say, look, I appreciate you apologizing. I appreciate the fact that you realize what you've done and how bad you hurt me and all the hell you put me through. But I would also say, but I don't want to establish anything between us because I've moved on and I don't want to, dip back into the old past. I just don't. I want to move on and just move on. But it doesn't mean that I'm angry at you. It does not mean that I hate you. It's nothing like that. And to be honest, I wish you the best. I wish you happiness and success. I hope that you find whatever you're looking for in life. It doesn't mean we have to be friends and go hang out and do stuff, but I still wish them the best. And that has actually happened. There have been a few people that have found me on social media somehow or seen me in public and say, hey, remember all that stuff I did? Remember that thing I did to you? Remember the things I said to you? I am really sorry. And it turns out that a couple of them was going through it themselves at home, and then they took it out on me because I was the Carrie White at school. If you've seen the movie Carrie, especially the original one with Sissy Spacek, that was me all the way till the 8th grade. And the 9th grade came around and JROTC kicked the crap out of it, and I became the star of the place. I really did. I ruled it all. And it was nice. Went from 0 to 10. It was awesome. Well, anyways, and I told them, hey, I'm glad you explained that to me. It still didn't make it right because you still had a choice to do it or not. But at least you recognized that and you were mature enough to own up to it, and I appreciate that. And anybody that ever happens to find me online or through social media or you see me in person, I just want you to know that if you are one of these people that did these things to me, whether it was name calling, the stupid noises, taunting me, getting physical with me, doing whatever you did, recording me or whatever you had done, just know that I hold no hard feelings against you at all, and I hope that you're happy in life. I hope that you find whatever it is you're looking for. I hope that you can do nice things. I hope you can travel. I hope that you make good money in life. I hope that you find a very special person and settle down. I hold nothing against any of you guys. I hope you guys find peace and have peace. But that's all I have right now. Just names hurt, guys, and something else I would really like to add, you might have friends, siblings, cousins, because, when you have, like, really close friends, or you have your siblings or your cousin, obviously you're going to throw out a name here and there, because what friend, cousin, sibling doesn't call each other a name once in a while? Because are you really friends, siblings, cousins if you don't? I mean, come on. But everybody has something that if you do call them, they don't like it, or they might take it personal, or there's something with that hurts them. Recognize what it is and don't do it. You know, like, um, somebody might have something that they're very insecure about, and then you call them something that might be related to it, and you might not realize it, but it might hurt. And if they tell you not to do it, please don't. Okay, because words do hurt. They do hurt, and not they hurt, and then that person who got called names, they go home with it, and it plays over and over in their head. It just plays over like a movie, and it starts over and rewinds. If you're 90s kids and you had a VCR, rewinds. Um, and then they start to feel bad about themselves, and then they start to think, maybe everybody feels that way about me, and then they want to be completely antisocial, and that's when the withdrawal starts. Words hurt. They might not punch you in the face and give you a black eye, but they punch you right in the soul and dim your lights, okay? Don't do it. It's mean, it's cruel, just you can never take it back. You can always apologize a million times, but you can never take it back. And there are people that used to be enemies and they become best friends, and there are people that are best friends who becomes enemies. We don't have to have enemies. We need friendships, not enemies. Words hurt people. It really does. I know this has been a very long video, and the videos are going to be getting a little bit longer because we're going to be talking more about certain things, and I hope to see you guys in the comments. You can tell me your story if you have something related to what I talked about today. If you agree with it, if you disagree with it, sure, let me know. Just please be respectful, because I have an opinion just like you. I will respect yours as long as you respect mine. That's all I have today. Take care of yourselves and be nice to people, okay? People go through hell. Life gives them enough problems. Please don't be another variable that gives them more problems to where they would want to give up and not try anymore, because life does that enough. Help people grow, not die. Bye.